Hello Year 9, this week in your art lesson you are going to be looking at everyday objects, but you're also going to be looking at everyday backgrounds that you can use to draw onto. The artist that we're going to be looking at today is Mark Powell. Mark Powell is a British artist who creates biro pen drawings, biro pen portraits on unusual surfaces and backgrounds. You are going to need today just some simple media, pencil, a biro pen and a fine liner if you have it. And you're going to use these to create some drawings inspired by Mark Powell and his use of unusual everyday backgrounds. Now, if we just take Mark Powell's work and take a closer look at it, okay, on this piece he's created a biro pen portrait, but the background looks like some vintage playing cards. This piece here, again another biro pen portrait, but this time he's used postcards. I like the way that he's also included the writing and the postage marks, and they kind of shine through parts of the portrait that has the lightest tones or the highlights. This piece here where he's used manuscript paper. I wonder if Mark Powell suggests a deeper meaning into his work by using these backgrounds. These backgrounds almost become just as important as the artwork. What links does this song have to this man? Is it to do with his favourite song? Is it a time in history? Are these letters? Are these postcards? Letters from a distant relative that has wrote to him? All of the backgrounds that you could pick today could suggest deeper meaning into your work like Mark Powell. Now, you have selected an area of interest within the everyday. What I'm going to be looking at today is household items, kitchen utensils and tools and a simple plug. Now I'm just going to be using these things because I had them at hand. You use what you have selected as part of your everyday. So I know a lot of you have chosen shoes or food. You stick with your theme. Now, what you're going to spend time doing in the first lesson today is not sitting drawn, it's going to be looking around your house and sourcing some unusual things to draw onto. Now, I thought things that you are likely to have around your home that you could start with is some graph paper, some lined paper, and different kinds of envelopes, different shapes and different colours. I happened to find this envelope which was made from a map. You may have a map around your house that your parents won't mind you using a page of. You could print out a map if you have a printer, but you don't have to use a map. You can just select some surfaces that you have at hand and that you would like to draw on. Now, thinking about envelopes I find really quite interesting. If you take an envelope apart, cut it open and look on the inside, you'll find that there's a range of different patterns that you can use to draw on. Now, similarly to the way that Mark Powell uses postcards, I'm going to use today some of these insides of the envelopes to draw from. I like the way that these edges are torn, and I'm going to include that in my drawing. I like the way that it looks as though somebody has, opened the envelope and left it. That background is going to become just as important as the drawing, as Mark Powell does. Now, thinking a little bit more outside the box, you may wish to use the fronts of envelopes and the way that people have wrote on the envelope, or you may wish to use some of the imagery that is on the envelope, like the postage marks and the marks from the sorting office. Again, some more unusual things. You may like like to draw on receipts, luggage labels, leftover or used train tickets or baggage tickets or luggage labels. I've also got here a instruction booklet for a sewing machine that you could photocopy the pages and draw on those. Now you may not have access to all of these things. You may not be able to get your hands on those. Don't worry, you can just use different sorts of papers like lined papers or envelopes. Now some things that you may have around the house, I've got a J cloth here, which is I'm going to draw on this, and a plain old kitchen towel. Okay, now when you're drawing on either of these things, I would say it's probably best to use the fine liner. The kitchen towel is absorbent, it'll soak up quite a lot of the ink and might bleed. Okay, the J cloth is a bit harder to draw on, and you may need to stretch the J cloth with your finger and thumb while you're drawing. Okay, time to get started. Now, using your everyday objects in front of you, you are going to sketch and draw 5 of them. Now, you're going to draw those things on unusual surfaces. So here I've drawn a range of things, such as the wire cutters, the grater, and all of these were just quick, sort of simple sketches. I've drawn on the kitchen towel, and I've also drawn on a receipt. Okay, so you are going to spend time using biro pen, fine liner or pencil just to sketch some of your everyday objects using a timer on your phone. Okay, so just spend 2 to 5 minutes sketching these items out. That will probably be enough for your first lesson by the time you've sourced all of the materials and drawn on them. And one other item that I thought might be useful to you was if you have tracing paper, you could draw on tracing paper. I didn't have any, so I had greaseproof paper. And I've drawn here a range of objects but overlapping one another and experimenting with scale. This is similar to Michael Craig Martin, who draws very simple line drawings. Again, he uses this method of overlapping the objects. You could look at that, because later on what you might like to do is to get some of your drawings, put the tracing paper or greaseproof paper over the top and take some photographs or photocopies of your drawings. This is development, and this is something that you could experiment with a lot later, and this would build up all of the things in your sketchbook. Really simple ways. Now, once you've completed your 5 timed sketches, you're then going to work on a drawing on your favourite material. Now, I didn't think I would like drawing on the J cloth, but I actually really enjoyed drawing the pair of scissors on the J cloth, and I took a little bit longer to do this drawing. And I like the way that when I used fine liner as well, and I like the way that when I removed the J cloth, I was left with this faded out drawing that was kind of overlapped in places because the pen had bled through onto the back. So after you're going to spend time now doing a 30-minute drawing of one of your objects using biro pen, pencil or fine liner. And this is a biro pen drawn of a pair of wire cutters on graph paper. Okay, just to recap, this is a video that shows both of your lessons, okay? In lesson 1, you're going to collect your unusual surfaces to draw from. Remember the insides of envelopes or lined paper or graph paper, maps. You could also be a little bit more experimental by drawing on receipts and luggage labels. And not all of your drawings you'll really like. You can pick and select. This is another drawing that I did on a luggage label, which I quite like, of a plug. Okay, so today really is about you experimenting with timed drawings, and in your second lesson is spending a little bit more time over your drawings and selecting which background you'd like to work with. Please email your work to your teacher. You did really well last week. Me, Miss Kester and Miss Horsey were really impressed with your cross contour drawings. Good luck. Bye for now.